The weight of your wedding dress felt suffocating, but not as much as the gaze of the man standing beside you. Your late sister husband, the man who despised you. You never imagined your life would take this turn. But after your sister's sudden passing, your parents had forced you into this marriage for the sake of the child. They had said their granddaughter needed a mother, and since you were her aunt, it was your duty. Tim hadn't processed, perhaps because he had no choice, but his silence had been louder than any refusal. Even now, as you stood before the officiant, his jaw was clenched, his hand balled into fist at his side. When the time came to say your vows, he bravely looked at you. I do, he muttered, voice cold and dejected, and just like that, you become his wife. The ride of his house, know your new home, was painfully silent. His daughter, Sojin, was asleep in the back seat, unaware of the tension between the adult in her life. When you arrived, Tim didn't wait for you. He carried Sojin inside without a word, leaving you to step into the unfamiliar house alone. The house still held trace of your sister. Her picture lying in the wall, her favorite flower set in the vase by the window, her scent faintly linger in the air, your shallow heart feeling like an intruder. You will stay in the guest room. His voice cut through the silence. You turned to face him, but his gaze was icy. We may be married, but don't mistake this for anything real. You are only here because of Sojin. Stay out of my way, and we won't have a problem. His was done, but you nodded. I understand. But did you? The first few days were unreadable. Tim barely acknowledged your existence. He left early for work, returned late, and when he was home, he spent all his time with Sojin except when she reached for you. Sojin was too young to understand what was happening, but she had always been attached to you. Even before your sister passed away, she sought your comfort, wanting you to read her bedtime story or held her when she cried. And that was what pushed. Tim was over inch. One night, you were tugging Sojin into bed when she reached for your hand. Stay, Auntie Ryan, she mumbled sleepily. Your heart melted, but before you could answer, Tim's voice cut through the room. Don't touch her. You flinched at the sharpness in his tone. He stood in the doorway, his expression unreadable. I don't care what you are trying to do, he snapped. She's not your daughter. Don't try to replace her mother. His word felt like a slap. I would never try to replace her, you whispered, your voice trembling. He scoffed. Good, then remember your place. What that he grabbed Sojin, holding her close as if shielding her from you. And just like that, you were reminded you were nothing but an unwanted replacement in this house. As the door shut in your face, you realized one painful truth. This wasn't marriage, this was a war. Things were lingering like a wound that wouldn't heal. She's not your daughter. Don't try to replace her mother. You hadn't tried to replace your sister. You never could. But Sojin was innocent at all of this. And no matter how much Taehyung resents you, you wouldn't let her anger affect her. Days turned into weeks and tension in the house remained suffocating. Taehyung barely spoke to you, only interacted when necessary. He made it clear that you were only there for Sojin, nothing more. But Sojin, she needed you. This would reach for your hand during meals, ask you to brush her hair, and fall asleep on your lap during story time. At first, Taehyung would glare, but after a while, he simply watched from a distance, saying nothing. Then one night, everything changed. A sharp cry pressed through the quiet house. You bolted upright in bed, running to Sojin's room. The sight that met you sent panic through your veins. Sojin was burning up in a tiny body trembling under the blanket. Sojin, you breathed, placed a hand on her forehead. She was burning before you could react. Taehyung stormed into the room, his face pale with worry. What happened? She has a fever. You said quickly. We need to bring it down. Taehyung hesitated for only a moment before nodding. He disappeared into the bathroom and returned with a damp cloth. You took it from him without a word, gently pressing it against Sojin's burning skin. For the first time, Taehyung didn't push you away. Instead, he sat on the other side of the bed, watching as you tended to his daughter. His hand clenched into fist, his eyes filled with something you couldn't quite read. She always been weak, he muttered. His voice used to. He trailed off, his voice thick with emotion. You didn't push him to continue. Instead, you focused on Sojin, whispering soothing words as she whispered in her sleep. Minutes turned into hours, and eventually her fever broke. He exhaled a shaky breath. She's okay, you nodded. She just needs rest. There was a silence. Then softly, he mumbled, Thank you. Your breath catch. It was the first time he had acknowledged your care, not with anger, but with something else, something uncertain. He stayed by Sojin's side that night, and when he eventually fell asleep, his hand was resting near you, and for the first time since your marriage, the ice between you began to crack. The house no longer felt as suffocating as before. The room still wasn't warm, but the sharp edge of his extraction had dulled. He no longer looked at you with a pure resentment. Instead, there was a hesitation, confusion, even it started with the small thing. He has no longer pulled Sojin away when she clung to you. He stopped caring when you brushed her hair in the morning. He let you tuck her in the night without storming into the room, and sometimes, just sometimes, you catch him watching you. As if he didn't know what to do with the emotion creeping into his eyes, but just when you thought they were changing, everything crumbled again. One evening you sat in the living room with Sojin curled up in your lap, her teeny finger play with the fabric of your sweater as she murmured. You froze. Your body froze. You knew she was half asleep, lost in a dream when her real mother still held her. But before you could respond, a sharp intake of breath emerged through the room. Then stood in the doorway, eye stark with something unreadable, his entire body tense as if he had been stalked. Get away from her, he said, voice dangerously low. You quickly moved back, guilt washing over you. I didn't. She's not your daughter, he snapped. She will never be your daughter. His voice was dagger into your heart, but before you could respond, he turned to his heel and stormed out of the room. The house. That night he didn't come home. The next morning you decided you couldn't live like this. Catch between in anger and unspoken grief. He would never accept you, never see you as a more than a replacement. You wasn't leaving Sojin. You could never do that, but you didn't want you to hear, and maybe, just maybe, it was the time to let go. As you stepped toward the door, a deep voice stopped you. Where do you think you are going? You stood there tremulously, his eyes dark with exhaustion. I am leaving, you said quickly. His jaw clenched. You can't. I have no reason to stay. Something freaking his expression. Something almost like a panic. Sojin needs you, he said, gasping at the only reason he had left. Sojin will always have me, you whispered, but you don't want me here. You never wanted me here, silence. Then no, softly, it was almost broken. He mumbled, I don't know what I want anymore. Your heart clenched because of the first time his anger wasn't making halt, it was making fear. Fear of losing something again, fear of losing you. Then what hung in the air, I don't know what I want anymore. Your finger tightened around the strap of your bag, your heart pounded. That's not fair, you whispered. You spent all the time hurting me, hating me. If you don't want me here, let me go. His jaw clenched, his hand bending into fist at his side. I thought I hated you, he admitted, voice rough. But then I watched you with Sojin. I saw you, how you care for her, and I hated myself for feeling. He stopped himself, frustration clear in his feature. Your chest achy for feeling what? His eyes met your and raw desperate. For feeling like I needed you, he admitted, like I didn't want you to wake up in this house. If you wasn't here, your breath. You remind me of her, he continued, his voice shaky, and I hate you for it. But then you wasn't her, were just you, and that scared me even more. Tears run in your eyes. Before you could finish, he stepped forward and cupped your face, his cheek, his touch hesitated, as if he wasn't sure if he had the right to hold you. I thought I could never love again, he murmured, but you made me feel something I never expected to feel. A sob broke from your throat, and then his lips were on yours. The kiss wasn't desperate or rushed. It was slow, filled with all the unspoken emotion he had burned for long, his hand trembling as they held you, and you knew this was his way of asking for forgiveness. When he pulled away, his forehead rested against yours. Don't leave, he whispered. Stay with me. Stay with Sojin. Not because you have to, because you want to. You let out a shaky breath, your finger curling into his shirt. I was never going to leave her. His eyes searched yours, and me, a soft smile broke through your tear. I was waiting for you to ask me to stay. For the first time since your marriage, pulled you into his arms, not out of arrogance, not out of greed, but because he had finally let you in, and Sojin's sleeping voice called out for the both of you.